Welcome to the lunation situation. Of course, we're talking about the Leo grand new moon occurring at 12 degrees on Sunday, the 4th of August. Okay, so new moons are always this grand opportunity where the sun and the moon start a new cycle together. So we're birthing a 6-month period of opportunities, of prospects. Okay, so this is where you can work with manifestation. You can plant seeds, and there's the right energy, especially in Leo, which is so fruitful, which is so it is ruled by the sun. So it is about, at the end of the day, fertility, about children. So this is where we can be clear about our intentions, because there is a window of opportunity that we're working with for the coming 6 months. And as I always say, you get 10 wishes during every new moon, like Jan Spiller explains to us, that it's an energetic window. And it only works stronger when you incorporate the Leo theme into your wishes. So, as you can tell, this is the moment to really think about what you want to do the coming 6 months. What do you want to accomplish? What are your interests? What do you want to move towards? It's also related to how the chart looks. But first of all, okay, so a new moon is a fruitful time. It's a fresh incoming energy. This is about beginnings. This is about new chapters, new directions, new goals, right? So in Leo, this is the most bold, big energy of the zodiac, because, as I said, it is ruled by our biggest planet or biggest star, the sun. So obviously Leo is just like the sun, huge, it's light, it's about shining brightly. It's about, showing yourself off, standing in the spotlight, being a little bit bigger, a little more courageous, and self-expression, okay? So this is where you make bold statements, you put yourself out there, you use your creativity. You show yourself off, you sing, you dance, you perform something, or you just dress more noticeably, more dramatically, more glamorously, and just, it's an energy of extravagance. It's an energy also of luxury. This is the representation of royals, royalty, the kings and queens, like our sun is, as we are living in this solar system. So, where can you go bigger? Where can you shine your light more brighter? And how can you show yourself off more? How can you be more stronger, confident in who you are, and show that to the world, show that you are the gift. And standing in your own light, shining in your own brightness is so incredibly powerful, just like the sun is. So, this is a time to think about that, to experiment with that, to really put yourself forward, and just to be more bold, be more daring, take some risks, and with confidence and courage, as I said, because Leo, the lion's heart, is all about courage, which comes from the French word le cœur, which means heart. So Leo is heart-based, loving, romantic energy. Maybe a little bit too much, maybe a little, where we're like, oh, cheesy, but it's something we need in our lives. We need that romance. It's not just Romantic. It's romancing yourself, romancing life, to really find the joy, because that is Leo too, to really have fun, to step into your more childlike self and really enjoy the fruits of life, and to play, right, and to move around and to enjoy your body, to find pleasures, and find ways of creativity, of creative expression, of putting yourself out there through creative means. And usually, as I said, that's often either singing, dancing, or some other sports, or performing, acting, theater, or stand-up comedy, or just being in the limelight, because everybody has their own light that is just important to shine, to not dim your own brightness. So new moon in Leo, we can work with this, we can enhance our creativity, we can enhance our confidence, we can work on our self-expression, and through trial and error increase that within ourselves. This is center stage, and also a little bit of a me energy, so putting yourself first, putting yourself out there, and being at the center of the universe, and standing, claiming that position for yourself, that you are very important, and that you are the priority of your own life. It's you first, and empathetically you first, and then so you can serve the greater good and the people around you, so you can, with your presence, really inspire others, to really be that star in your own life, to lead your life. This life is your show, and you are the main character of your life. So if you don't take charge over that scenario, that is your character, your life, your now, your future, then, well, others will, So it's time to step up. It's time to step up into who we are, to live boldly, to live creatively, to live joyfully, and just really taking the necessary individual risks in your own show, in your own character, in your own scenario, right? So doing that is taking charge over your life, taking the leadership into your own hands. And this new moon is that opportunity. Not just in an egotistical way, because it's at 12 degrees and 33 minutes of Leo. So 12 degrees is a Pisces degree. And it means that there is a spiritual side to this, that there is spiritual love with this new moon, that the shine, the brightness that we are, we come to understand that that is not nothing, that is really the light from our soul. It is the unconditional love of the divine that is so bright, so inspiring, that we are a vessel of. Because Leo is about love, the heart, courage, Pisces, the 12 degrees that this new moon is at, indicates the highest form of love, the unconditional love of the divine. So it just enhances everything that Leo is to the highest frequency in Pisces. So this means also incredible creativity, again, that Leo always is, but just heightened all the way to the Pisces degree. So with this new moon, not only can we find ourselves the character that we are, the life we want to live more strongly, more energetically, more heartfelt from our own perspective. But it is also about this higher understanding of love, of light, of radiance that is way beyond just this physical character and this little scenario that you play in this lifetime. So there is this much higher perspective going on as well, which we can also see back in the aspects within the chart of this new moon. So just for the astrology geeks, what I noticed right away that I want to say is that it works very much, this lunation, with the Venus retrograde that occurred last summer in 2023. The 12 degrees where this new moon is at in Leo is also where that Venus retrograde started last year, meaning also at 12 degrees of Leo. And Venus is here in the chart at 29 degrees of Leo, which is a very potent placement, very powerful degree that Venus is in. And it relates back to also patterns that Venus was making in her retrograde in 2023. So do you remember what you were going through last year in the summer? It seems that right now with this new moon, there's like a clean slate. It's like, okay, I hope you learned something from last summer, because now we're doing it differently. We're incorporating those lessons, and we're doing it more heartfelt. We're doing it with courage and with love to the absolute max. And what does it mean with Venus? Well, as I said, loving relationships, romance, confidence, self-esteem, self-love, also creativity, your values, how you feel worthy of yourself. What do you find important in your life, which is also related to finances, and prosperity, possessions, what you own, what you want to have in your life, and also even style, so being more bold in how you look and how you decorate and all that. So with that retrograde that Venus had last summer, we all went through like a reflective evaluation. We went through an evaluation period where we look back at how we were in relationships, with money, how our self-worth was related to both these themes. And since last summer, we all went through this process of getting deeper into a better understanding of our self-worth, and really practicing this in our behavior, our self-expression with other people. So basically proving to ourselves and the world that our self-worth is enhanced now. And I feel that this new moon is like a kickoff from basically a 12-month period where we can really just have a clean slate and start over and start new, and that we've learned so much from, especially last summer, and that we now have just way increased self-worth that is going to affect positively our finances and our intimate love relationships. So when we look at the chart, the sun and the moon are together, right, at 12 degrees of Leo. they are making basically two big aspects. One is a trine to the North Node. Now, this is pretty important. So a trine to the North Node just confirms everything that I just explained to you, that we're here to be more of a daredevil. We need to prioritize ourselves, our needs, our wants, our goals, and to be more individualistic, to really take charge and leadership over who you are, what you want to do. And so we feel very passionate with this new moon. There's a heightened energy, and we need that, right, to take bold steps forward. So this is definitely positively making new goals, finding the passion, sticking to the passion, following your heart, following that tingling in the body, and really striding, making big, quick moves towards those goals. Because once you set your mind, your heart to what it is that you want, things can really accelerate, which this trine to the North Node tells us. There's an acceleration, there is a fastening of energy. Of course, it's both fire, so it's quick to the goal. So the goal setting you do around this new moon has the potential to come about quickly, okay, if your mind and heart is aligned with it. So again, passionate, bold, being really self-expressioning, being fully you, thinking about yourself fully, really now understanding and practicing the importance of self prioritization. And this new moon shows that we could reap the fruits of this quickly. And that there is something we can pioneer in. We can be the first in. We can be the biggest in. We can be the best in. So there's also an excellence or an excelling at something within this. And looking at the degrees, it just makes me feel that there is a strong element of faith and belief behind what you do, who you are, and what you want. As I said, there is this spiritual undercurrent in this new moon, that you understand that you're more, and that your light, your presence is a particle of the divine, really, and that you're a vessel for love. And yeah, just being able to stand stronger in that means that things will flow quicker, better, easier, more rewarding, more joyful, more fulfilling. So there is this promise of becoming something, of becoming a big energy that you desire. Oh yeah, this is about huge desires, right? Which is related to the passion. So there's desire, there's joy, there is, a drive to really follow all this and be all this, okay? A lot of action energy, basically, which is, I guess, enhanced by the sextile that this lunation also makes, both to Jupiter in Gemini and Mars in Gemini. So this means that, our goals are big. Our goals are grandiose. Our energy is grandiose. We are charming. We are social. We are really in it for the joy. And as I said, the goals, the actions are just very high on our agenda. And there's just a lot of energy of fruitfulness, of bringing things to fruition. So yeah, this is just a chapter of a lot of action, I feel. The sextile between Gemini and Leo here in the lunation is a very active one, of a lot of energy, of a lot of interests, maybe a little bit too much of interests, being so diverse with your interests that the energy might be a bit scattered in Gemini. But I think it just enhances that desire, that energy, that opulence that this sparkling new moon gives us. It might be a bit of a, reminder that we should watch out for extravagance, that there is this great desire for that. But there's some element that we are meant to learn from this new moon energy. So there is a learning process the coming 6 months regarding our passions, our desires, our personality, our creativity, our self-expression. So there is this learning element to our goals. So maybe there is an element we are going to understand the coming 6 months about ourselves that is going to better help us move forward with the goals. Maybe it helps the boldness of the Leo energy, because sometimes I feel that somehow it has steeped into the culture, general culture, that, it's better to be like normal, to not stand out. And, so I think often people just diminish their own light and diminish even their own style, and definitely diminish what they say. They don't want to cause a stir. They don't want to hurt anybody. Unfortunately, with all that boldness, sometimes you do, but it's if you're an empathic person, that's not your intention. But part of that Leo and Aries energy that's working here means that you shouldn't be afraid of, knocking a few things over, of being a little bit bold and, causing that stir, maybe, upsetting a few people, but it's about truth, and really it's about honoring yourself. And so I think the coming 6 months, this is what we are working with strongly. We're learning to honor ourselves. We're learning to celebrate ourselves. And the related themes or the results that come with that, meaning our goals, meaning, relationships, everything. To learn to become more unapologetically yourself. To bring more of the Leo wild side out. Maybe we're learning with that through the Jupiter allowing us to be more bold, be more bigger, more a little bit extravagant, to find the right degree. So basically that's it aspect wise directly from the lunation. But in the background, there's a lot going on. I should mention, first of all, one really important one, that is Mercury, our planet of our mind, our communication, but also trade and mobility. So, you know, you and I on the road, is going retrograde the day after this lunation. So August 5th. So what I've noticed with Mercury retrogrades is that they don't go unnoticed, which is explanatory because Mercury is the planet that is closest to our Earth. So the usual explanation in astrology that I agree to is that it affects our communication devices. So, emails, texts, social media posts, but it also affects literal communication you have with someone, using the wrong words, not being able to fully, explain yourself, or the other person just not understanding you. As Mercury is also about contracts and agreements, you could have miscommunication about that, not being clear on the details, missing the details. And also because Mercury is about travel, mobility, this is also where a lot of, especially it's the summer season, so a lot of travel plans can go haywire. Things cannot, may not go the way you expected it. So there might be delays, or you might be too late for things. So when there's a Mercury retrograde, right, like here during this lunation, you should check the details twice, 3 times. You want to be more early to certain places, because there's also other things going on that indicates this. So this makes the Mercury retrograde even stronger, in the sense that it makes it a little bit worse. And that's because of the Saturn square Jupiter that I'll get into. That's also background energy. So, yeah, that's the Mercury retrograde. It starts August 5th, but there is always a pre-shadow period, means we're already in it. Another thing is that, electronic devices, communication devices, may break down or have like problems. So ideally, this is not the time to buy any of those items. And also, generally, it is said that you should avoid buying expensive things during retrogrades, because, once the planet goes direct, you might be like, why did I buy this, or pay too much for something, so be careful with that. It starts, well, basically now, but literally starts August 5th, and then it continues until August 28th. So write that in your diary. And it means that with your travel plans, you might want to be more flexible. If, there are inflexible things like getting a plane, being on the train, then make sure that you're there earlier than normal, because things might not go the way you wanted it. So yeah, what else is there? Well, like I said, that square between Saturn and Jupiter is, in my opinion, definitely starting around this lunation, although it's exact 2 weeks later, during the full moon in Aquarius more so. But here already there's a 3-degree orb. So this square between Saturn retrograde in Pisces and Jupiter in Gemini is very interesting. First of all, just a little astrological view. So we call these two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, the gateway planets. So we have personal planets like Mercury, Venus, and Mars. These are closer to Earth, okay? And they affect our character. So those are like sort of, because they're close to Earth, you have them first, sort of chronologically in distance, right? So you have the personal planets, and then you have, at the end, you have the outer planets. So they are very far, and some cannot even be seen with with just our eyes. So those are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. But in the middle, we have the gateway planets separating the personal and the outer planets. So these gateway planets are, well, just like in the name, they are like gate holders. So they are the gate holders of, the soul perspective, the beyond the earth life. And they're about your soul lessons. For instance, Saturn, which is more about karma, right? But Jupiter is then, I guess, the more benevolent version of Saturn. It's also about learning, teaching, but more in a protective sense. More, I suppose, in a kinder, more blessing version, and more enjoyable than Saturn. But those two planets are closer together, right? The gateway planets. So here they're facing off, and that's so interesting. And I had a moment of introspection and, I suppose, intuition. And something came to me because I described this energy in, I think, last week's Astro Weekly. That I felt that this Jupiter square Saturn is like a contraction energy that goes on during childbirth. So it's like that labor energy of, contracting and releasing and that buildup of, well, the birth canal opening so that the child can come out and new life can start, right? And that's really the energy, because Saturn is that contraction energy where things are tighter and more serious and, obstructed and difficult. And then there is the Jupiter energy that widens the energy, that loosens it and loosens it and gives, more enjoyable, a break, a blessing in disguise. And it's that whole contractional energy that I feel this gives us. Why? Also in a time frame sense, because we're having this energy now in August. We're going to have this energy again when Jupiter goes retrograde in December of 2024. And what is so interesting is that for me, it feels like it births the energy of 2025, because a huge thing is going to happen energetically that year, because Saturn, what we're talking about here, is birthing a new energy, possibly, in my opinion, a new consciousness, a new storyline, when it moves into Aries in 2025. And it does so together with Neptune, which is huge. So the ruler of our materialistic world, the lord of karma, Saturn, the teacher of lessons, you know, soul lessons, karma lessons, is making sure that we not only think about, but make sure that we want to birth things into this new reality in 2025, what we really, really want, and to be very responsible with what we want to create. Because as I said, Saturn is the materialistic world that we're so known with on this earth, right? The cars, the houses, the money, the bling, the career, the prestige, you know. And of course, Saturn is also about big systems in place in this materialistic world. In other words, authority systems. So generally right now that means political systems, financial systems, authoritarian systems in the sense of like police, military, but also, you know, the patriarchal system, which is culturally male dominated, right? So all these big systems are also going through a massive change. So this contractional energy, this, you know, loosening and then contracting, and then, you know, that push-pull basically between Saturn and Jupiter, the blocks, the literal roadblocks that Saturn can cause, the endings, the dissolvements, the completion of themes, subjects, experiences, but even people, places, and things in your life are here because there's a new thing unfolding, a new energetic reality that's the footsteps are here, and the footsteps are in August, and the footsteps get louder in December, and in 2025 it's that time, it's the arrival, it's the birth. So right now we are having a standoff between these two. That square creates uncomfortability, irritation, blocks, confrontation, pushes us into more devotion, pushes us into more focus, pushes us into tremendous healing, and emotional maturity. These things are very, very important. Understanding that the creational element of life, how that works, how you can be an authority over the creational aspect, how you can be more in charge of your, you know, basically co-creating, right? Manifesting. And related to all of this is your connection to the divine, which also needs devotion and focus and, you know, repetitive practices, such as meditation, prayer, whatever it is, you know, maybe even being in service, helping people, those in need, those who need help, which is a very divine thing to do. And the standoff can really be felt between a clash of a lot of information, things seeming to be facts, you know, a lot of words, a lot of communication from the media, social media, seemingly authority resources, you know. But the clash is between that and then the intuitional, the unseen, the magical, the energetic, other side of the reality. So I feel for a long time you should have, and if you haven't, this is the moment to increase your intuitive skills. And that is practice. That is learning, just like anything else, like learning a language, like learning astrology, right? It's repetitive skills, and, you know, keep yourself busy learning and developing and evolving in that craft, meaning your intuitional muscle. And that is really how you can discern more of what is going on, and how you can also relate it back to this new moon in Leo. Your intuitional skills also really help you to decide, you know, what energy is yours, what energy isn't yours, what should bother you, what doesn't bother you, you know, to keep things away or to allow things in, to decide what is important to you, what is society that pushes you to certain things, you know. This is the struggle to find your authentic voice, your authentic being, your authentic light, your authentic goals, your soul goals in this lifetime. And yeah, I think the intuitional part is key to understanding that, to being that. Without it, I don't think that path really works. So, and that ties also back into the degree of this new moon, because it's 12 degrees. It's a Pisces degree where the Saturn is at, right? Meaning that intuition is a big part of this journey. And maybe that's what the sextile to Jupiter and Mars is, right? I said we needed to learn something. Maybe it's tied into that, needing to learn intuitive skills, the craft of intuition, your own personal intuitional guiding system, and increasing your faith, your spiritualness, right? So that's really big. And I guess, well, there's a lot going on actually. What's so interesting is, again, what I said at the beginning, the Venus degree at 29 degrees of Leo, where this lunation is taking place, right? It's the same sign. 29 degrees is just so massive. It's an anaretic degree in astrology, so it's very heightened. It's very big. It's like bursting, right? It's too much. And because it's a personal planet, we're all feeling the intensity, right? We're feeling the heat that Venus brings here at 29 degrees of Leo. So in one sense, it's just a huge desire to connect, to have that romantic feeling, to have more romance, pleasure, fun, glamour, you know, heartfelt experiences in your life, especially relating to other people. But, you know, 29 degrees is where there's a difficulty. So either we're not having it, we're not reaching it. There are obstacles, there are blockages to this. There's literally a square to Uranus at 26 degrees of Taurus, which is an Algol degree, right? And I made a whole video about that, Medusa and Algol. So the square to Uranus means that things have to be different, that the pleasures have to be unique, to tailor to your own interests, tailor to your individual energy, and that there needs to be more freedom. There needs to be breaking free, doing it your own kind of way. Regarding everything, relationships, pleasure, style, money making, okay, luxury, even possessions, and definitely finances for sure. There's but obviously, because Venus represents the feminine, which is mostly regarded as the women, right? A female thing. It's not though. The feminine is in every sex, but it's true that Venus is also about the female. It's about the feminine, but it's also about the female. So this is literally also about women, right? And there's a lot of feminine and female energy related to this energy, not only because of Venus, but because Uranus is at an Algol degree, which is the Medusa story, which is a woman that has experienced a terrible fate, right? And, you know, a fate that was about her beauty, about the jealousy, the unacceptance of who she is and what she wanted, that she couldn't defer the authority in charge, and also about the sexuality and being a feminine, being a female, and the female pleasures. And this clash between the Venus and Uranus reminds me of clearly a strong Medusa connection here. Not only because Uranus is at an Algol degree, which is the head of Medusa, but also because Venus at 29 degrees is conjunct the asteroid Medusa at 29 degrees of Leo as well. So a huge Medusa story here. I guess in a way it's also linked to this lunation, not only because Venus is in Leo, but also because Venus and Medusa are also conjunct the asteroid Apollo, and Apollo is the sun god, right, which is what rules basically Leo. So it's about also this fear or this very deep code within us that there is a, you know, that we can be reprimanded for our beauty, that we can be abused and you know, denied, like our own self-authority can be denied by people being jealous of your beauty, of your shine, of your presence, you know, very Leo. And so we're working with that, with this lunation as well. So it's also very much about stepping into your feminine or your female woman power, and really again, still, since that conjunction with Algol a couple of weeks before, at the end of July, we're still working with the Algol Medusa energy here, definitely with this new moon. So it's about stepping more unapologetically again into your beauty, into your shine, into your presence. That, you know, what happened to Medusa is not going to happen to you, especially as a woman. And mind you that as a woman, you should also not do it to another woman, which is part of the Medusa story, right? Because Athena basically cursed Medusa for her beauty, for her sexuality, for her feminine power. So feminine power, feminine beauty, feminine presence, feminine light should not be diminished. We need to break through, break out of that chain, and into the light, the power of the feminine. That's really, really important as well. And And yeah, so that's again related to the Venus retrograde last summer in 2023. Why? Because this degree was also something that she worked with in 2023. And as I said, Mercury is going to go, oh, maybe I didn't say that, but Mercury is going to go over some parts of the Venus retrograde of last year. So basically, our mind is also catching up on the lessons of our self-worth, of stepping into our confidence. And just the new moon in Leo shows us that that's going to create a whole new story. Like, this is where you write a new script, a new scenario, a new play to, you know, your show. So related also to this Venus 29 degrees in Leo, and remember that there's Medusa there and Apollo there as well. But it's part of a yod. And the yod is on the opposite side, a sextile between Pluto retrograde in Aquarius and Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Now, as I said, these are outer planets, and they are working about our consciousness. It's a much higher evolved energy, and it's about spirituality. It's about soul perspective. It's about the beyond. So afterlife, that there's much more than just what we sort of see, and that there's much more after this little play, this little life you lead. So there's this awkwardness to that Venus. There's a need for integrating these higher perspectives of consciousness. Neptune is working with higher frequency of love, of higher frequency of creativity and the divine connection, right? Spirituality into the Venus, into our love, into our self-esteem, into our relationships, into our finances, into what we find important and worthy. And Pluto is bringing in the power of your individual authentic frequency. And apparently it's just something that Venus struggles with, or we struggle with. So I feel that there's a lot of integration on the background, working on our confidence. But you know, what I find so fascinating about astrology is, as you may have noticed, I've been going in rounds, basically saying a lot of the same things, right? But that's just because I'm explaining to you the aspects in a chart. And what astrology really is a confirmation of something you've already noticed in a pattern. And so, you know, the degree of this lunation being a Pisces degree already indicated this yod, which is the finger of God, right, between Venus and Neptune and Pluto. So it's just confirmation over confirmation that this is it. This is what we're working with. We're working with higher frequency love. We're working with the Medusa story and breaking free. We're working with our stepping into our beauty, which means our own authentic, unapologetic light, our own shining sparkleness, which is the light of the divine, right? Which is the light of our soul. So there is an increased perspective that's working here. And the chart just shows us that it has an effect on our goals, on our character, and that it promises so much more joy, so much more passion, which is the fuel of life. And let me remind you that that square of Saturn and Jupiter is an energy that is similar to a birthing energy, that we're stepping into much higher frequencies, especially in 2025. That's going to be a turbulent year of massive changes potentially, and that we need to get our ducks in a row, and that this square is a preparation. And we're working with that now in August, and we're working with that again in December this year. So I hope that was informational. I hope that was worthy of listening to. And let me remind you again that this might look like roadblocks, like hurdles, like blockages. Also because Mercury is going to go retrograde just after this lunation. A little side note is that I noticed that the new moon takes place at 11:11 GMT. Okay, specifically for the geeks, 11:11 and 3 seconds. So that I find meaningful because 11:11 is a beautiful angel number, and it ties back into the degree of this lunation, which is 12 degrees of Pisces degree, which means our guardian angels, our divine guidance, the divinity, the spirituality of life, again, the mystical, magical side of life, which also, by the way, is something we're playing with because of a sextile between Neptune and Uranus that definitely around here is inching together to a 3-degree orb, to a sextile that I felt when I looked at this 2 years ago or something, and I heard the song A Whole New World, I think it's from Aladdin, A Whole New World. So yeah, we're working with that, we're building that. So it's time for you to really, get clear on what that is for you. What is the most important thing, and how can you be the most important player, the leader in your own life to contribute to this better, bigger, better, whole new world where there is so much more love. We can do that, but you have to implement it individually first, right? So happy, big, bold new moon in Leo, and I'll see you in the next lunation situation. Bye.